I'm underneath this spray tank here behind the lawnmower. It's hooked on as a trailer right now just to hold it in place. And I've been staring at this thing back and forth for a while, and I think what I'm going to do is run a bar, a piece of this 1 1/4 inch square tubing. We have 1 inch square tubing running across here, and it's light gauge, real light gauge. But that 1 1/4, if we have a piece running, I don't know if I'm getting this on camera or not, but right inside this bolt hole, on this side of the bolt hole, running straight across, all the way across, we'll miss this connection here because I don't want to eliminate being able to use it like a trailer the way it's originally designed. I just want to make a quick, easy adapter. So we'll run a bar from this side all the way across to that side, and we'll do the same on the back side, all the way around there, all the way across, and that'll give me 3 bars, actually 2 solid heavier ones, these 2 new ones that we're going to put on, and then they'll run clear across, and then I can just set this whole thing onto like a fork design on the back of the tractor. I have a lot of this 1 1/2 inch material, and it's new, and I can build a fork design that will mount on here. It'll just sit on here someplace. We'll figure out a way to set it on there. This is just a piece of material. It's not cut to size. It's just a scrap. But it'll sit here, and it may come out a little bit longer than that, and then come out here, and then the same thing on that side. Put a little bit of a gusset in there to hold it, and then this side will just, the top end will come up like that too, and just bolt this thing on here somehow. And we'll do the same thing on this one. It'll just bolt on there, or maybe have a hole in it, or with a rod that goes into the hole, hold it in place there. And then this one is at an angle though, but we could probably still do it with the same one. Just make a side bracket that goes from here and bolts onto the side. We could probably make it do the same one on, I don't know, we'll figure something out, but I have to have a plan first, and I think I got one. Yeah, I believe that's going to be my plan. I cut off a bar, run it from this side to this side, right above this one, and put another one down here, same way. And then we'll just weld them together with another piece crossing underneath. Got the thing all cut up in pieces. I didn't know what I was saving it for, but I bet it's been sitting here 20 years. I got just a hair over, or excuse me, just a hair under 29 inches, about 28 15/16 up here, and got the same thing down here. We don't have to have a tight fit in between there. We got a bent corner here that was just folded over thin sheet metal, so we'll just go with 28 1/2, and that'll give us a 1/4 inch on each end, and then we'll have our little, you know, our 2 bars going across there, and then we'll have 1 more bar going on this side and 1 over here to join those 2 bars together. I'm going to trim the torch cut ends off of that, and the table on that chop saw is 3 1/2 inches from the floor, and that's why I'm using a piece of standard 4x4 scrap as a, whatever you'd call that, a block or a table or whatever on the other end to keep it square with the saw. And yeah, I'm going to cut this thing off with electric because it's cheaper than gas. Do all my cuts from now on with electric, except for when I get in a position where I need to use a torch. Now what I'm going to do is put the blade down here and put my measuring tape up against the blade. Come out here and mark my 28.5 inches that I want. Now I can't show you what I'm doing on this side, but I'm going to do it on your side, on the camera side. Where I can see my mark square with the side of the blade. Well, we're not cutting it off. We'll cut too short if we do that, so I'm going to slide it over to this side. Right there. And I won't do any more cuts on camera. I'll just show how I'm doing it. Now for this cut, since we are copying one we already made, I just butt up the ends even over there. Come in here and just touch that blade a little bit. This stuff does not have to be perfect, it's just, well, I don't need to clamp this one in there. Got these pieces cut out. Now I'm going to weld. First I had to grind. I got them in the shade here because they're getting pretty hot in the sun. Yeah, I ground off a couple of flat spots there to, well, so that they'll weld easier and cleaner. But I'm only going to weld one of these on. One of these two onto one of the long bars, not on both of them yet, because it's easier to weld the second one on once it's in place on the tank. Got things set up here to get ready to stick weld that. Sorry, I still never did get a hood to put over the camera so that I can weld and show exactly what I'm welding. So we'll just shut it off while I'm welding that. Got the top side welded, now I'm going to flip it over and do the underside. Got this bottom bar, or I guess it'll be the back bar when the thing's sitting flat. Got these short ones welded onto that. I'm going to take this one and clamp it in place so that we can weld it on up here. I need two hands to do it. So I'm going to do that because I had to just clamp this one on in place. Otherwise I got to take more bolts off and more assembly putting it back together if I just weld this whole thing completely and then put it on. But I can weld it while it's on here like that. Got it set up to weld now, I think. I can get this on camera. Not the actual welding, but that C-clamp joint right there we're going to get, and then the other one across from it, right there. We got those welded now. all except for the back side. Right under here on this side isn't welded. I'm going to turn the thing back down and let gravity be in my favor for those on both sides. I got that part of it done. Now I just got to build a rack that goes on the back of the tractor that this can sit on, like this. One here and one there. It'll be bigger metal. Just going to come up like this and cross here and then back out that way. I got this little rack made, or at least started, and this is the last piece of that material without starting a brand new bar that I got. But I got another scrap that's about, I don't know, 8 or 10 inches long. But I don't need it this long. I just need about an inch. Just a little piece to put on the end there to keep that from sliding off over there. And so what I'm going to do is cut this thing in half. And I'm going to show a little trick when you get this short. When you get this short, a little piece this long, I don't have to measure it because it's just crude work, is not going to stay in the clamp. But I do have another piece left over. If I put both of them in there together, then I can clamp it together like that and go on ahead and cut that in half. Not the safest thing to do, but it'll work. I'll go on and shut the camera off. There it is. I can't pick it up with my fingers. I'll have to get a pliers and put it in water. Well, next step, I guess, is done. It's we've made this bar. I guess you could see it in the picture. I'll show with my finger in case. This is the rack that the first rack that we built, put underneath this. This will support that. That rack's going to run this way across this. And these two little ends here will just keep it from sliding off because it's got a bar going here and another bar over here. It's just clamped on temporarily. Found the answer to my problem. I just clamped this one. This lawnmower sits a little bit lower than the other one. And I just clamped a piece of this leftover, a piece of this about 8 or 9 inches long underneath this. And then that sets this thing up at just the right height. Wheels are off the ground. We got plenty of room to gusset this when I put those uprights on here. So that's looking real good. And that'll go right on this one too, because this one's higher. So we won't need that spacer underneath the one on my lawnmower, but on Charlie's lawnmower, we'll just take the spacer off and just set it right on this, and it'll still be the same height as it is over here. Yeah, we got a plan going. I think I'm about done with this. Sorry I didn't videotape all of it, but I got in a hurry. Would have made for too long of a video anyway. I made this piece out of two, as you can see, two pieces of 1 1/4 inch. It was used metal that I had from that rack on the pickup truck. Anyway, this lower piece is welded on about 1/4 inch outside, and I'll show you why in just a second. I left this clamp on there. I'll show you why. And didn't do such a nice job. I should have used a MIG welder, I guess, because this is thin metal. Welded up here, getting close to these two bolts that hold the starter solenoid on, and then another starting over here about another 3/4 inch away. I finished welding across there. Yeah, I burned through a little bit right there. Really, that's most of the weld that's holding this thing on, and I need one from underneath. I can't weld it underneath, but what I'll probably wind up doing later on, I don't really need it yet, but is just drill a hole through this, put a bolt right through the middle, through this, bolt and nut to hold that, keep the weight of this thing from pulling this out. And okay, the rack is finished. It's sitting right here. These here Well, you'll see, I got gussets here, a couple pieces of light gauge angle iron, looks like 3/16 that I found in my junk. These two little end stops, you'll see what all that is in a minute. And then this little step here to raise up the, because this is too low, raise it up a little bit. Let me get on the tripod here. It fit a while ago, a little snug right now, but not for long. It'll loosen up as it gets used. That fits on there nice and tight. I don't weigh 200 pounds, but that tank when it's full will. But with me bouncing on it, the impact is more than 200, probably 250 or 300. So I'll go on ahead and put this tank on there. And I wanted that off the ground a couple inches to kind of serve like wheelie bars in case it's facing up a steep hill and a full load and it tries to raise up off the ground in the front end. The back wheels on the trailer there will catch it and help keep it from turning over. Looks like the tank is able to roll backwards, so the original, I don't know if we can see it from here, but the original piece right here, that's what originally the trailer tow bar came from. I can probably put a bar in there for that to slide into to make sure this can't roll off backwards. But it all has to be done where it works easily and fast and easy to change and take off, because I don't want to have to unbolt a bunch of stuff. I'd rather just unhook it the way I got it set up now. Still has a couple of burrs need to get knocked off somewhere. And we need to make it where we can put it on this tractor. And the height of this is about where the little tractor is, with that little spacer sitting on top of it. This one just sits higher. So that'll sit on there. We'll get the height of these right, and we'll make an adapter to either bolt onto this and hook onto these, or maybe from the sides. And with a pin that goes through here, we'll figure out something. So everything is done except making another little adapter for this right there. And just the weight of it will keep it pushed in that way. It's not going to come out, so we don't have to fasten the bottom down, just the top. So I probably won't even do another video on that part when I do it, but I might. I don't know why I need to. Pretty simple. One more thing, these wires get clamped onto the battery, and then you've got this long wire with a switch over here. Here's the motor. What I'm going to do is just disconnect this pigtail here, not even use that anymore. And I've got these, I buy a lot of these things from Amazon. I have them, box of them sent to me, and I'll just put another plug onto that, the same as this plug here, and that's going to wire right into the battery. so that we just plug those two together, and that's it when we hook it up. And there won't be any long wires to get caught in the wheels or wherever. And then we'll just have a switch we'll stick over here, easy to get to for on and off. I found an easy solution for this rollback situation. When I look down the top right through here, I see that bar is even, that bar in the middle with the hole in it, is even with these two bars on the side that I put on the back of the tractor. So all I got to do is put something right across the top of that. Across the top of this, over to the other side, across the top of that, and it'll keep that from rolling back. Because that'll hit it. And these stops here will keep it from going backwards. Found a quick solution for that thing to keep this thing from tipping back. Found this little piece of metal here, put that on it, and that should do it. We'll go ahead and test it out now. That did it. That did it. It's not coming off now, unless I lift up the back end of it, get it past those hooks on the end. There we go. Done. At least on my little tractor. Still got to make the adapter for this one. Alright, thank you for watching.